All right, this is campaign video number, what are we at, 11? And we're going to talk about economics. And I think I like economics because of the endless layers of complexities. Fits well with my natural engineering mind, and which always feeds into international trade and economics, just pressures, hydraulics, all that stuff. So, Chris Dardzinski, U.S. Taxpayers Party of Michigan candidate, 13th Congressional District. Please click on the link below in the details section there to my website and read everything if you're in the 13th Congressional District. And make sure you share this information so that every eligible voter in the 13th Congressional District has reviews all the information on all 6 of us candidates, and they make an informed decision on who they want to support and vote for. I don't want people voting against things. I want people voting for things. It's very important. So, Vice President Kamala Harris says that if elected president, she will direct the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, to review price gouging going on with corporations, food companies, so forth and so on, and to make recommendations on price controls, so forth and so on. All right, man. I just did a press release on this, and I listed 10 solutions to that the federal government can do regarding groceries and food prices. So let's start with the Constitution. All right. There is the phrase to regulate commerce amongst the several states. Okay. Very, very good language in the Constitution. It is a bit of a gray area. I acknowledge that. So, when it comes to gray areas of the Constitution, and I don't know where constitutional scholars and constitutional professors, I don't know, and constitutional lawyers, I don't know where they come down on gray areas within the Constitution. Whether there should be a very limited, narrow scope to the phrases and sentences that are in a gray area, or should be a very expansive scope. And that will forever be the debate. So, all right. We do not allow state sales tax on food and grocery purchases. That is something proper that the federal government can do under the Constitution, because you could easily, in high tax states like New York, and especially in the District of Columbia, the sales tax on food could just crush your household budget on groceries more than it already is. So, what is the sales tax in the District of Columbia? I think it's currently at 9%, or is it 11%, 12%? It's very high. Somebody Google that and put it in the comments line below. Fact check me. I'm almost positive it's a minimum 9% sales tax in DC. So I've paid that sales tax. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there's no specific text in the Constitution that allows for a Federal Trade Commission. So a president cannot instruct a federal entity, which should not be allowed under enumerated powers granted to the federal government, because they're operating outside the enumerated powers of the Constitution. There is no need for an entire Commerce Department. The Bureau of Economic Analysis, sure, federal government does need information on the economy and an analysis on that make informed judgments and decisions on laws and policy. So the Bureau of Economic Analysis, no problem. How big it is and their scope, well, that is a matter to be defined. So yeah, the majority of your Commerce Department outside the BEA should be eliminated. And so now we get into there is price gouging. There. Everybody in Wayne County, Michigan knows this gas station at, I believe, Goddard and Middle Belt off the top of my head, right next to Detroit Metro Airport, and their prices are 20 to 25 cents per gallon higher than anybody else in Wayne County. That's because they're right outside the airport, and car rentals and so forth and so on. And hey, they got that corner. Your state attorney generals, though, they're some of them are very adamant about price gouging. So you can only price gouge fuel so much before they'll clamp down on you. Don't think that 75 cents per gallon of gas is being price gouged, because it's not. I tell you, you go above that 21 to 26 cent range, state attorney general is going to come down on you like a ton of lead. So anyway, so I'll just roll along with some what I feel to be some very sound, practical economic solutions and constitutional solutions for bringing down the price of groceries and food. Number one, all DOT, Department of Transportation, contracts regarding maintenance of federal highways, bridges, dams, ports of entry, canals, railway lines, all those contracts need to be reviewed and rebid, because there's fraud and waste in every single one of them. Any government contract, you can almost practically just go ahead and know that there's 10% of waste and fraud in the bidding process. So, hey, I put it out there hardcore and raw. I've seen government contracts. I've reviewed government contracts. I've read multiple federal government budgets, and I know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm not just whimsically saying these things to entertain myself or to skitter you. So I would recommend that the federal government not be involved at all in setting a limit as to how many hours a truck driver can drive in a 24-hour period. So quite honestly, that is something that is left up to an individual company. So I don't see where the Labor Department or the Commerce Department or the Tooth Fairy has anything to say about that when it comes to the guidelines of the Constitution. And we could do a very simple solution. Well, it's not a simple solution. There has to be a federal government total spending. Cap it at 1% annual, 1% growth annual. So if there's $7 trillion federal budget for 2025 total spending, you get $7,070,000,000,000 in 2027. So you'll start weeding out the waste and the fraud relatively quickly. So I'm going to encourage you to go to my website, www.leadership1776.com, and read everything on there. We could eliminate the federal guidelines within the tax code for the reporting of depreciated equipment. There's literally no reason to do that. Or depreciated value of equipment on inventory, whatever the full phrase of that is. I can't see the form completely in my head. So it's like allowing for a tax upon a tax upon a tax as far as the value of a business. So, you know, the $41 the $41 printer that I bought 5 years ago, I still have to report it at $4 or whatever the depreciation is. It's ridiculous. We could eliminate the wetlands guidelines where swampland, wetlands, you get a huge puddle after a major rain on a farm. You get a major puddle of 30 feet across and 2 feet deep, and it's considered a wetland under some guidelines. That's ridiculous. The agriculture department programs that pay farmers not to farm and not to farm certain items. Ridiculous. So those are some things to think about when it comes to what we can do to lowering the cost of food and groceries that the federal government can do. And I would, of course, rolling back the guidelines and restrictions and allowing for as much domestic energy production as possible, including shortening the permit process for bringing new power plants and energy infrastructure online, especially nuclear power plants, which take years and years and years to get permitted. I hate to keep using the word ridiculous, but it's ridiculous. So anyway, those are just a few things that my little economic brain would recommend. So go to the website, www.leadership1776.com.